I've got all kinds of cars and vehicles in my life, wonderful ski boats and Sea-Doos and all kinds of other stuff with motors in it. I like motors. I like stuff like that. I get it. You do too. We spend too much on this stuff, and sometimes it gets us into real trouble. Our last two callers both had a car problem. They have both over-purchased on their car. $27,000 car with a $48,000 income, a $32,000 car, and a $10,000 motorcycle. That's $52,000 tied up in vehicles with a $60,000 income. You will not prosper when the total of stuff you have with motors and wheels is over, the value is over half your annual income. Because everything with a stinking motor in it, as much as I love it, goes down in value. They go down in value. They're not an investment. I invested in a car. Then you are a stupid butt investor. Because your investment's going to go down in value. Why would you invest in something that goes down in value? You consume a car. And that's fine. I don't mind you having a nice car. I just don't want your nice car to have you. So the average vehicle loses 70% of its value in the first 4 years you own it. So when you buy a new car and you drive it off the lot, when you hear that sound and you go into the street, go across the curb and it goes blump, blump, that was a $10,000 sound you just heard. Blump, blump. You just lost 10 grand. And you better be able to absorb the blow. The average car sale in America right now is about 30 grand, and they're going to lose 20,000 of that 30 in 4 years. You're going to turn 30,000 into 10,000 and scratch your head and wonder why your kid's college fund isn't funded. You're going to turn 30,000 into 10,000 and scratch your head and wonder why you stay in debt your whole life. You're going to turn 30,000 into 10,000 and wonder why you're freaking broke. Well, that's why. Because you bought stuff with wheels and motors, and it all goes down in value. I am not against you having a nice car. I don't drive junk cars now. But I used to drive garbage. I used to drive stuff that make a hoopty look good. Because I drove like no one else so I could get some money. And once I got some money, then I can drive like no one else. So here's a plan. Drive something that only you care about, because it gets you from here to there. And quit trying to be sexy based on your car. Oh my God, how dumb are you? You know, that is not going to make you sexy. A vehicle doesn't do it for you, baby. I'm sorry. So you're not cool based on your car. You're just stupid. Me too. I've done it too. I've bought all of it. I know what it looks like. So drive like no one else so that later you can drive like no one else. And a good rule of thumb is to not have a total of vehicles that equal more than half your annual income, because you're going to struggle. You're going to stump your toe. You're going to stumble. It's going to be hard because you're losing more money than you're making is what it amounts to. And it just mathematically causes you to walk with a limp. It mathematically does not allow you to sprint to be all that you can be, right? It doesn't do that. So, you know, you make $40,000 a year, you don't need $20,000 worth of cars. Maximum of about $10,000 worth. Get you a couple $5,000 cars, get your income up, get yourself out of debt, get your net worth up, and when you're an everyday millionaire, then go buy you a new car. But you don't need to be buying a new car brand new car until you're a millionaire, because you can't afford to take the hit. You're just going to lose your butt on these things. Now, I buy new cars, but I'm a multimillionaire, so I can afford to take the loss. And so I'm driving stuff that I used to dream about driving. So, man, someday, you know, those dreams you have? Well, I'm driving that now, but it's like 30 years into this deal, so shut up, you know? When we went broke, a guy loaned me a 1978 Cadillac with 400,000 actual miles on it. The predominant color on this thing was Bondo. It was a Bondo buggy. It wasn't even a certified hoopty. It was just a Bondo buggy. Had a vinyl roof on the top of it, and when you drove it, it filled up with air. It looked like a parachute on top. This was white trash vehicle right here. And I'm driving this white trash hillbilly vehicle, I had been driving a Jaguar before that I sold 2 days before it got repoed because I was going bankrupt. This is how stupid I was. So you hadn't done anything stupid that I hadn't done. But I'm driving a Hooptyville. I drove that car for 10 years, 1 3-month period. Felt like 10 years during that 3 months. But I'll tell you what I did during that 3 months. I saved up $1,000 and bought a car. Gave my buddy his nice loaner back. And man, $1,000 car was a sizable upgrade from that 78 Cadillac. Because it just, I mean, it had to be one of the ugliest vehicles. I drove it over in the nice end of town, and the cops started following me, profiling me. It's like, that car is not supposed to be in this end of town. You know? That's how bad this car was. So don't talk to me about, oh, you have to have an airbag. And, yeah, well, you know, just put your mother-in-law over there. That'll work. I mean, come on. Seriously. Golly. I mean, it's not safe. Oh, brother, give me a break. I mean, you're talking to a guy that grew up. We slept in the back window of the car when I was growing up. They would slam on the brakes and we'd land in the floorboard. My generation, my parents' generation, thought seatbelts trapped you in the car and would kill you in the wreck. No one wore a seatbelt in those days. Now, I'm not saying that's smart. I'm not trying to get a bunch of you killed, but we have become a bunch of wusses in this country, and we overreact and over-dramatize everything in order to rationalize a purchase that we can't afford. So you can't afford the car if you can't, A, pay cash for it, and B, if the total of all your vehicles equals more than half your annual income, and that includes your $9,000 lawnmower by John Deere, which also goes down in value like a rock. You just bought the Bentley of lawnmowers. And so you're asking for it. Now, I don't mind you getting a John Deere. I don't mind you getting a Bentley. But you pay cash for it, less than half your annual income, and it's not brand new unless you have a net worth of $1 million. This is not something that matters to me. I'm not going to be driving your car. I don't care what you do. I'm teaching you the math that works for you to become wealthy, and it doesn't include conspicuous consumption with 4 wheels. Conspicuous consumption is I buy stuff so that other people think good of me. I want you to see me. That's why I bought that first Jaguar. I thought it made me look cool. It didn't. It didn't. I was no more cool in that Jaguar than I was in that $400 Hooptyville Bondo buggy. I was still just Dave, and you're still going to be just you, no matter what you put the key in and turn. It doesn't make you a good mommy. It doesn't make you a good husband. It doesn't make you a good whatever. It doesn't make you an eligible bachelor if you're so stupid that you would date a boy or a girl based on the car they drive. You're not marriage material.